Dutch cities want to ban property investors in all neighborhoods.
Here's a summary of the article.
The large municipalities in the Netherlands plan to make wide use of a legislative amendment that will allow them to designate neighborhoods where investors won't be allowed to buy cheap and medium-priced homes and rent them out, NOS found after surveying the municipalities. The intention is to give people looking for a home a better chance of finding one on the tight Dutch housing market. Last year, a third of all homes sold in the 4 large cities were bought by investors. Especially because we want to prevent a waterbed effect, a spokesperson said, referring to investors targeting more expensive homes if they can no longer buy those in the lower segments. We are going to see whether we can use the scheme as widely as possible, but we must be able to substantiate that, a spokesperson for the municipality of Groningen said to NOS. The amendment states that municipalities must substantiate whether and in which neighborhoods imbalanced and unjust effects occur due to the scarcity of cheap and medium-priced owner-occupied homes. The municipalities must also show that the purchase protection is necessary and effective in the chosen neighborhoods. The amendment does not set a price limit for cheap and medium-priced homes, as a cheap home in Amsterdam can easily cost as much as an expensive one in Groningen, for example.
This post received a score of 46,000, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Past week I've seen places in US sell within a day at double what they were worth 4 years ago. 25% more than what I would realistically pay. Investors are buying up the market. There will be a time when it will be impossible for a normal person to buy. That's why I am not selling my house ever unless I am lucky enough to find something better.
We could really use this in New Zealand. Problem is a huge amount of NZ's boomer population are property investors, as are most of our politicians.
Greater than as are most of our politicians. This is the problem everywhere.
In Brazil, it's pretty common for mayors to buy huge areas which have absolutely no value and then get so lucky to have public investment in the range of several millions in the infrastructure of the place, skyrocketing the price of it. It's really inspiring the entrepreneurism of these guys.
Maybe they just know something we don't about those properties? If only the Canadian government could grow some balls and implement some similar policies.
Not just foreigners. People with extra capital can invest in business and stock markets. They shouldn't hoard housing.
Just invest in a stock of a real estate company that buys up housing.
Not sure if this is but there are lots of REITs out there doing just that, and the average person can definitely invest in them.
Does help you buy a house though. Would rather we ban this kind of stuff.
Tell this to Australians, many of whom would rather kill themselves than let their house prices fall or rise more slowly.
They need to limit negative gearing in Australia. The incentive is making things much worse.
So the rich are buying property across the industrialized world, not just in the United States. That's interesting.
Check out New Zealand. Probably the worst housing crisis in the world right now.
Canada would like to speak with you. Stats says Auckland is 4th and Vancouver is 2nd. Toronto is 5th. Hong Kong is number 1. House price to income ratio, also none of US cities are in top 6.
Anyone who isn't already in the market is completely as fucked in Canada. There isn't even a whisper of a shadow of the slightest desire at the political level to change the way things are going.
Because Canadian politics is trash and has been for decades.
Housing is too big of a portion of our GDP and they will never do anything about it.
When I read about how major companies are turning housing into a commodity, only renting them and owning thousands and thousands of homes. That makes me sick. There should be a major tax hike with each property you own.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.